When people talk about financial freedom, they usually talk about it like it's one destination. Like one day you just arrive, you make enough money, you save enough, you invest enough, and suddenly you're free. But that's not actually how it works. Financial freedom isn't one moment. It is a progression. It's something you build in layers, in levels. And if you've ever felt like you're doing some things right with your money, but still don't feel fully in control, it's probably because you're in between levels. You're not starting from zero, but you're definitely not where you want to be yet. And that in between space can feel confusing if you really don't have language for it. So, in today's episode, I want to walk you through the 5 levels of financial freedom, how to identify where you are, and what it actually takes to move to the next level. Okay, level one, financial instability. Level one is financial instability, and that probably doesn't come as a surprise to you. This is the stage where your money feels inconsistent, it feels unpredictable, or it feels completely out of control. You might be living paycheck to paycheck. You might be relying on credit cards to fill in the gaps. You may not know fully what's coming in or going out. And there's often a lot of avoidance when it comes to your finances. At this specific level, money feels stressful. It gives you anxiety. It makes you nervous. It could be because you know you're not doing the right things with your money, but it also could be because you're doing the right things, but you don't really have a system that supports you just yet. And if you're at this level, first off, know that a lot of people have been here, a lot of people are here, a lot of people have moved past this level, myself included. So please don't feel like if you're here, you're behind. But if you are at this level, the goal here is not perfection. It is awareness. It is to recognize where you are. And once you can do that, the goal is to move out of this level. And to do so, to move out of this level, you really need to start getting clear on your numbers. You need to know what's coming in. So you need to know your income on a consistent basis. You need to know what's going out. So you need to know what your bills are, what your spending looks like. And I'm talking exacts. And you need to know where your money is actually going, right? So we got bills, we got spending, but if you should have something left over, what's happening to it? So basically, at this level, you need a budget. This is where effective budgeting actually begins. And remember, I've talked about this so many times. A budget is not a form of restriction, it is a form of clarity. A budget is a tool that helps you understand what needs to happen with your money to get where you're trying to go. So, if you're at level one, which is financial instability, your goal to move out of this level is to create a realistic budget and start working to make sure you stick to it. Okay, level two, financial awareness. At this stage or at this level, you have started paying attention to your money in a way you probably didn't before, right? We're not avoiding things, we're actually being intentional, being mindful, we're seeing what's happening. You know your income, you have a general understanding of your expenses, and you may even have a budget in place. But here's what this level often looks like. You are aware, but aware enough, right? But you're not always aligned. So some weeks you feel on top of things, you feel in control of your money, you're tracking your spending, you are making intentional, mindful decisions, and it feels like you're finally getting it together, like you're in a good groove. But then something just throws you off. Maybe it's a busy week, something crazy happening at work, an unexpected expense, or a moment of impulse, and suddenly you're right back in your old habits. And that inconsistency can be frustrating. Trust me, I know a lot of my clients experience this. It's, feeling like you're on track, feeling like you're taking, 2 steps forward only to take 3 steps backwards. And it feels that way because you know better now, right? You know, like, dang, I just did something that sets me back. You're not avoiding your finances anymore, but you are not trusting yourself to fully follow through with getting to the next level. This is where so many women get stuck. And I want to challenge you a little here. Awareness alone is not transformation. Okay, just because you know what you should be doing doesn't mean that your system is strong enough to support you in actually doing it. Okay, at this level, the goal is to move from awareness to consistency. And that means creating repeatable habits that don't rely on motivation. It basically looks like having a weekly money routine where you check in on your numbers. It looks like tracking your spending regularly, even when you don't feel like it, or even if you've had an impulsive shopping day. It looks like making decisions ahead of time instead of in the moment. And because the difference between awareness and control is follow through, you absolutely have to be aware of what's going on and you have to take control of it. But I want to talk a little bit more about this inconsistency, right? Because again, I feel like a lot of women get stuck here. It's like you know what you should be doing. And so you start doing those things. And then, like I said, something throws you off. I would encourage you to really get clear the next time you're in this kind of cycle and something throws you off. What triggered that, right? Because there's something that I don't think people talk about enough, and that is there's a fear of success, right? We all know about fear of failure. Okay, I'm sure we've all experienced that, but there is a fear of success. There is a fear that if you continue doing what you need to do to succeed, you will get there, right? But then maybe you'll lose it, or maybe it won't be what you thought, or maybe you're not as happy as you expected to be. And so before you even allow yourself to get to that stage, you're self-sabotaging. You're maxing out your credit cards. You're spending when you know you shouldn't and you almost don't even want to, but you feel like you need to, almost like as a form of protection, right? So I know I went off on a little bit of a tangent there, but to kind of bring us back, if you are doing right by your money and then something happens where you completely move yourself backwards, really assess and analyze where that action was coming from. Was it a place of fear? Was it a place of feeling like if you do succeed, you won't be able to maintain it? Try to get clear on that, because that's what's going to help you as you move forward. Okay, moving on to level 3, the third level of financial freedom. Level 3 is financial control. Okay, so level 3, financial control. So we started with financial instability, then we moved to financial awareness, level 2, and now level 3 is financial control. So at level 3, this is where things start to click in a different way. At this level, you're no longer just aware of your money, okay? You are directing it. So first we had no awareness, okay? But then we got a budget and then we had some awareness. Now it's not just that we have awareness, but we're actually controlling our money. We're telling it what to do. You have systems in place that you actually use when you're at this level. You are consistently checking in on your finances. You're planning your spending, you're tracking your spending, and you're making financial decisions from a place of intention instead of emotion. And this is one of the biggest shifts in how your money feels, okay? Like this is big. Here, you feel less anxiety. You feel like you're guessing a lot less. You feel like there's a lot less avoidance, right? You're no longer wondering if things are going to work out or how you're going to make them work out. You know where you stand. But as great as this is, as great as control is, I want to be clear about something. Control does not mean perfection, okay? Just because you have control doesn't mean you won't have moments where you overspend, doesn't mean that you won't still have unexpected expenses pop up. You still have seasons that feel tighter than others if you have financial control. I want to make that very clear. we can't really skip this level, right? This is a very big in between level between financial instability and true financial freedom. Like you can be in control, but things can still go wrong. The difference is, though, when you're at this level, is that those moments don't derail you anymore. They don't completely take you all the way back to the beginning because you have a system to come back to. And this is where your confidence really starts to build, especially as women. Not because everything is perfect. Remember, nothing is perfect. Things will never be perfect. But because you've proven to yourself that you can handle your money. You can handle setbacks. You can handle impulse spending. You can handle when things don't go as planned. But here's the shift that's required to move forward. At this level, a lot of people stay focused on managing, right? They're tracking, they're budgeting, they're maintaining. Everything is kind of going according to their control. But if you stay here too long, the growth will plateau. Okay. You, again, we're not moving behind, which is good. I don't want to make it seem like there's no progress here, but eventually the growth will plateau. And to move to the next level, you have to start asking bigger questions. You have to not just ask, how do I manage my money, but you have to ask, how do I grow it? Okay, so not only do I need to know how to manage it, I need to know how to grow it. And this is where you begin thinking beyond stability and really into growth and expansion. So that leads us nicely into level 4, which is financial growth. This is where your money starts doing more than just supporting your day to day life. It really starts building your future, your life in the future. At this level, you have already established control, right? I mean, you're consistent, you're intentional, your financial foundation is solid. So now your focus shifts to increasing what you have. You're saving consistently, not just when it's convenient. You're investing your money, even if it's small at first, okay? So everything I'm saying here doesn't require huge amounts. It's getting that foundation laid. So ultimately at this level, you are thinking of your long-term wealth. You're not just thinking your short-term comfort. Your mindset shifts are big here. This is a big mindset shift because you stop thinking only in terms of budgeting and you start thinking in terms of opportunity, right? Not how can I not spend this so I can pay for this? No, you start asking questions like, how can I increase my income in a way that aligns with my life? Or how can I make my money work harder for me? Or what decisions can I make now that benefit me years from now? And actually, this level can feel really, really exciting, but also a little overwhelming because now there are more options, there's more decisions, there's more strategy that comes into play. And without intention, it's very easy to either overcomplicate things or to stay stuck in what feels comfortable. So the focus here is not just growth, it's intentional growth. It's making decisions that align with your goals, your lifestyle, and the kind of life you actually want to build for yourself, the kind of life you see yourself living. And the shift to the final level from here, it's not just about having more, it's about aligning what you have with how you want to live. So that moves me into the final level of financial freedom, which is financial freedom, real financial freedom. And I want to slow down here for just a second because this is a term or a phrase that gets thrown around a lot, but it's not always clearly defined. And the reason for that is because financial freedom does not look the same for everyone, okay? For some people, it could mean retiring early and never working again. For others, it could mean working on something they enjoy without being dependent on a paycheck. For others, it could mean the ability to travel whenever they want. Or for another group, it could simply mean having a peace of mind and knowing they're secure. So financial freedom looks different to everyone. But at its core, financial freedom comes down to this. You have enough money and enough control of your money to decide how you spend your time and where you spend your life. Okay, let me say that again. You have enough money and you have enough control of your money to decide how you spend your time and where you spend your life. You are no longer making decisions from pressure. You're not staying in situations because you have to. You're not saying yes to things out of financial obligation, and you're not constantly calculating whether you can afford to breathe. You have options, and that's what makes this level so powerful. That's what makes this level worth working towards, especially for women, because freedom isn't about never thinking about money again, right? I don't think anybody, no matter how wealthy they are, never thinks about money. It's about your money no longer being the thing that limits your life. It's about alignment. Your money supports your lifestyle, and your lifestyle reflects your values, and your decisions feel intentional and not reactive. Now, here's something else that doesn't get talked about enough. You don't just jump straight into financial freedom. It is built on everything that came before it, okay? So the awareness, the consistency, the control, the growth. And even at this level, you're still being mindful. You're still making intentional decisions. You're still choosing how to allocate your money in a way that supports the life you want to live. And you may still have some worries about money. I think this is normal, especially if you worked so hard to get here. But the difference is it no longer feels heavy, it just feels aligned. So I want you to ask yourself, where am I right now? Don't answer with where you want to be. Don't answer like where you think you should be, but where are you actually? Because once you can identify your level, you can focus on what actually matters to get you to the next level. Remember, it's not everything all at once. It's just the next step. You don't need to jump from level 1 to level 5 overnight. In fact, that's not even how it works. Each level requires a different version of you, different habits, different decisions, different priorities. So instead of trying to focus on everything at once, focus on what your current level is asking of you. If you are in level 1 instability, focus on awareness, get your budget in place. If you are in level 2 awareness, focus on consistency. How do you stay consistent with managing that budget? If you are in level 3 financial control, start thinking about growth. Now that you have managed to stick to your budget, how do you make your money work better for you? And if you're already growing, start aligning your money with the life you actually want to live. So if you're in the growth stage, how are you growing in a way that makes sure your money helps you live the life you want to live? And if you're feeling stuck between levels, or if you know that you are doing some things right, but you're not seeing the full picture come together for yourself, that's exactly where support can make the biggest difference. Because sometimes it's not about working harder, right? Sometimes it's about working smarter. It's about having the right structure, the right systems, and the right guidance to move forward. So if you need some help with that, I invite you to request a free call with me, and let's just talk about the right money systems for you and what that could look like for you. I will link to the call request form in the show notes. And I will end with this. Financial freedom isn't something you arrive at by accident. It is something you build step by step, level by level. And wherever you are right now, you are not behind. You are just in a stage. You're in a level. And your next level is available to you. You just have to be willing to meet it.